Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It has been long I did anything on this channel because I have been working on myself. Yeah, I have been really working on myself. So we're back. I took a 3 months break. Yeah, with the losses going on. So I just took a break and we are back. So now I want to just do a top analysis from the daily, weekly, and monthly first before we go to our main time frame, daily 4 hours and 1 hour time frame, right? Now, looking at this whole scenario, right, we have a break of structure here, the main break of structure here from our monthly time frame, which signals to us that what price is what in a bullish momentum. We can see it there, right? And we can see here in this box here, that's what we're focused on, all our attention on. This is what we're focused on. We can see that price is trying to come down. Now, the question we ask ourselves is, where is price coming from? Where is price going to? And where is price at the moment? At the moment on the weekly time frame, this was the last close body of the candle, right? But the way it's going now, this would now be the what? The new close before the end of the month. We'll be having a full bullish momentum that might clear this high. Now I come down to my what? To my weekly time frame, right? What do I see on my weekly time frame? On the monthly, weekly, and daily, be very careful with what they call the fair value gap. But I have the break of structure on the weekly time frame. That's the first thing I'll first look out for. And I'm only taking out three things now. I don't want to give myself too much headache with PDRAs. I have order block, fair value gap, and liquidity. And what do I have here? I have an order block here. And normally I would have taken the whole zone down here because of why am I taking that whole zone? They have what? A fair value gap that's attached to that order block. This minor fair value gap, this minor one inside here, a fair value gap, and on top of the fair value gap, this candle made it the order block. But if you look inside here also, they have a structural shift. I might take this as a liquidity too, but we had a fair value gap that came down here as what it took out. Don't forget, there's only one thing I had to learn the hard way after losing so much money, is that market moves internal to external, external to internal. And I'm going to mark this what my 1 week OB to remind myself that it's an internal structure, right? Now I come down to my daily, what I'm going to really focus on, and I might remove this line over here. But don't forget that all these other blocks above here, I'm going to consider it a resistance zone. All the other blocks above are resistance zone. Now, I worked on myself with one thing. For the past 3 months, I've really been working on myself, and I had to learn that I was missing something, and that was what? Structure. Everybody marks structure differently. Some people use the line structure. If you come here, you will see this line. Some people use this as structure. Some people use this as, some people even use volume candles as structure. It depends on what you use. Some people use bar, some people use candle. But you need to understand structure. Looking at this, you need to understand the range. We have what? A break of structure here from the daily time frame. That is where I will start my analysis from. I look at this low with the body, and this was the last body that came out. And I look at this high, and I know that inside this box is the full range of the daily structure. Looking at this whole scenario now, I know that a change of character has taken place here. We are still practicing every day by day, right? And this is just a full structure. Now, if you look inside here again, this is the candle that came out with what? A body. And there was a retracement back with three body candle closure. One, two, three. I would mark that as what? A break of structure. A break of structure or external range liquidity. You can consider this what? A breaker block, and this as a form of liquidity. Now, price is still going up, but don't forget I told you that everything that has to do with order block and fair value gap on top, just keep marking it as a resistance zone in case price acts very, very funny above all those areas. They're like a resistance zone for you. Now, I come down to my 4 hours time frame. Don't forget all the other blocks and fair value gap are resistance zone. We also have one here too. But these are the higher time frame zones that price are going is going to act a bit very, very funny. That's why price is a bit struggling there. Now, I have marked this area now as my 1 day break of structure. If I look inside very well, right, what do I have here again on 4 hours time frame? I have a break of structure here on the 4 hours time frame to avoid trading paralysis. Our daily has shown us what a break of structure, which is here. On top of here, we have a 4 hours time frame here. Don't forget, if I go back to my daily, my Fibonacci, I forgot to put that for you. From the low to the high, from this low, this is the lowest low to this high, because you need to know where the structure starts from. You focus on that because that's what I got to learn, that sometimes price does an internal structure. And we have here, we have an order block here, 1 day OBIRL, to remind us that what we're just trying to master structure. And what do we have here? We have our what? Our fair value gap. And we wait for price to create a form of liquidity. But on the 4 hours time frame, price has created what we call what structural liquidity on top. But we're still expecting more liquidity to be created before it comes down here. Now, on the 4 hours time frame, I have a break of structure here, and I also have another block here. 4 hours order block, OBIRL. You can see it yourself, right? There's a 4 hours order block, and I have a fair value gap here below. In case price want to come as the 4 hours time frame and push up, in case price wants to do something like this and come down and push up. But looking at this whole scenario, right? I also have another block here too, because there's a fair value gap on top, and I also have another fair value gap on top. Because why? My Fibonacci from this low to this high, all these are below what 50% and close to OTE zones. So this is another order block here too. This is another order block here too. This is another order block here, and this is another order block because they have fair value gap. Now coming down to my 1 hour time frame, which I like to use as an entry, right? I have what a break of structure here on 1 hour, because white came out with a body and it has 3 candle retracement here. I'm using the major structure. I have a break of structure here on 1 hour. And today is Tuesday. There's kind of news today. On Tuesday, there's news. Yeah, there's a red. And I also have what? I also have a break of structure here with a full body. You can see it yourself, right? 1, 2, 3. Price just created a form of small liquidity below here. And why? Because there wasn't any fair value gap for it to push up. And what do I see now? I see another what? Break of structure here with a body. You see it, and we have what? On a 1 hour time frame, we have an OB here. 1 hour OB IRL. Now, not to get yourself so confused, I'm starting my daily is still bullish, 4 hours is still bullish, and the 1 hour is still showing us bullish, but we have a fair value gap. And if we want to go down to as far as 15 minutes, we have a break of structure. There was a change of character around here. 15 minutes, the minor break of structure. So another block is here, another other block is here. So we're still watching to see, but I'm expecting this is an hourly time frame, and this will be a form of liquidity for me. We're still working on ourselves every day to be better, but our psychology is where the focus is more. Yeah. So we're looking for a sell down Fibonacci from this low to this high. And I said before, I'm only looking for 3 things now: order block, fair value gap, and liquidity. I don't want to make this whole thing more complicated for myself anymore. Something very, very simple. So I'm expecting price to come down here or create a form of on the hourly time frame to go up. If it doesn't do that, then we come down to 4 hours and we expect price to come down here using this whole up here as a form of liquidity. Price created is some form of liquidity, but let's see how it goes. But we know that on the 4 hours time frame, on the 1 day time frame, price is struggling with what? A fair value gap on an order block. So there's high tendency that price might go down. This is like a resistance zone. You can see it yourself, right? That's like a resistance zone, fair value gap and order block. but it's also liquidity above that price has to go and clear. And we know that from the weekly time frame, price is more of a bullish momentum, and price has to clear this high to enter this fair value gap to pull it down. But let's see what happens with the market, and let's see how it plays out for gold. Then for the XY, which I'm still trying to work on very well. Okay, that's tapped on the other block on the 1 hour time frame. But I'll start my analysis from just the weekly and what the monthly to see what is happening there. On the monthly time frame on the DXY, I'll be very, very, very fast. If I shrink it very, very much below, I try to understand trend. And what do I see here? This was the last movement that happened that came out with a body. And we have a break of structure here from the monthly, here with a body, another break of structure here with a body, another break of structure here again. Okay, this took high. There's another sheet of market structure from here down here with a body. And what am I looking for? This low to this high, and we know that we're in what OTE zone, and that structure is also here. But we know that, what do we know here? That price is reacting off this what other block here. That's what price is struggling with. Now I come to my weekly time frame, and what do I see on my weekly time frame? There is a break of structure here. Don't forget range, because that was what I'm still working on and it still affected me. And we have a range. This is the range where price came from here to here. So you can see that on the weekly time frame, you can see the whole struggle. You can see it with your own eyes, right? This is the whole struggle on the weekly time frame. Now, if I come down to my daily structure, on my daily structure, I have what here? I have a break of structure here on the daily break of structure. Break of structure. I have here a what? I have a shift of market structure here, and we had an OB here too with a fair value gap. But price did its crazy here, and price came tapped here, but there was a kind of minor shift around here. But we know that price, based on structure, because I'm trying now to focus my strength on structure. There was an other block here, and this was an other block here, but price didn't respect it at all. And price tapped here, creating a form of liquidity, and did what? Broke this high above here. It's still with a wick. That's form of liquidity above. But if I take it higher and higher, okay. That was the final change of character on what? On the daily structure. We're going to find all this structure, internal structure from what? Our 4 hours time frame. Then I have what here? This was the final movement. I have another one here again. Now, if I took take this from this low here, because price went this high, break of structure here. Okay, hold on. I have to mark this well. And what happened? Price took this with a body. This week came out with a body. Then, okay, change of character. There was a low here. So the same thing. Price did this. Another one here. Change of character here. The same thing. Now from this low to this high, you see it yourself now. From this low to this high, we have this fair value gap with this liquidity lower here. So I will take this as what? An order block here and another order block here for the daily structure for the XY. And that's what we're expecting that movement for a buy. Now looking at this whole scenario now on the XY, I know in my heart that I'm expecting price to push up, right? But coming down to my structure, my main structure of daily 4 hours and 1 hour, I know that price has tapped on my daily order block. I'm expecting price to clear out this high above here, right? But looking at this whole structure, this was the last low here, high. This low came out where? It came out here with a what? A body. Finally, right? We tried to trace it very, very well because that was my mistake for a very long time. So I keep working on myself every day and share my knowledge on my channel. And I have my other block from this high. This is the range from this high to this low. And what are we? We are under what? Our discount level. Can you see it? Discount level, and we're going to what? Our premium level. And we have different resistance zone. We have here other block with a what? Fair value gap. And there's also a fair value gap, another fair value gap again with what? An other block. We're expecting price to act very funny there. And going down to my 1 hour time frame, that's why we're actually what? We're actually buying. There was what? A shift of market structure here with a body. And what do I see again here? Another shift of market structure here again with a body. Then if you go to as low as 15 minutes, you know why price is acting funny there? You realize that from this low on 15-minute time frame to this high, price didn't get down here, but rather than this other block here. And on 15 minutes time frame, you want to know why price is still buying. There's a break of structure here on 15 minutes. So I got to learn that structure is king, and I keep working on structure because the moment you don't understand structure, everything is a waste of time. Everything is a waste of time. The moment you don't understand structure, there's a change of character there with a break of structure, and that's why price is what reacting up there, hourly time frame. So I'm expecting price to get to this level around here or around here. So I hope this video was very impactful. The best advice I can give anybody is go learn market structure because that was what I keep working on. And yeah, learn market structure. And I hope it helps everyone that is actually growing as a trader. We keep working on understanding structure. Thank you very much.